Fear, an emotion that has shaped the course of human history, pushing us to act, or sometimes, holding us back. We all experience it in different ways: fear of the unknown, fear of failure, or fear of our own limitations. But what if the ancient philosophers had already discovered powerful tools to overcome fear that are still relevant today? Imagine a time when great minds like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle understood fear not just as an emotional response, but as a fundamental obstacle to spiritual and intellectual growth. What if their wisdom holds the key to living fearlessly, achieving clarity in the face of adversity, and pursuing a life of virtue and wisdom? In this video, we will dive deep into how ancient philosophers, from the Greeks to the Stoics, conquered fear. We'll explore their timeless strategies rooted in logic, ethics, and self-awareness that continue to inspire us today. How did these philosophers use their understanding of the human mind to not only navigate fear, but to turn it into a powerful tool for personal transformation? Join us as we uncover their secrets to conquering fear and leading a life of purpose, courage, and wisdom. The concept of fear was not only examined, but also deeply analyzed by the great philosophers of the ancient world. Their teachings continue to resonate because of the timeless wisdom they offer on mastering fear. While the modern world has its own approaches to fear, it was the ancients who first took a philosophical, psychological, and spiritual approach to the emotion, offering profound insights that still hold immense value today. In ancient Greece, the Stoics were among the first to systematically address how fear affects the human mind. Philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius believed that fear was an impediment to achieving tranquility and virtue. For the Stoics, fear was not something to be avoided, but something to be faced head-on and transformed. Their core belief was that fear arose from mistaken judgments about what we can and cannot control. They argued that true freedom and peace come from aligning our minds with reality and accepting that we cannot control everything in life, only our response to it. Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, also had a unique approach to fear. In Plato's Apology, Socrates demonstrates how fearlessness can be cultivated through the pursuit of wisdom. Socrates, in his defense of his life and philosophy, faced the death penalty with remarkable calmness. He did not fear death because he believed that death was either a peaceful rest or a transition to a better existence. His approach to fear was rooted in self-awareness and the belief that understanding the nature of life and death allows one to live without fear. Aristotle, on the other hand, understood fear through the lens of ethics and human behavior. In his work Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle outlined the concept of courage as the virtue that lies between the extremes of cowardice and recklessness. Courage, according to Aristotle, is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act rightly in the face of fear. For Aristotle, the courageous person is not someone who lacks fear, but someone who acknowledges fear and still chooses to do what is right. The ancient philosophies offered tools for understanding and mastering fear, emphasizing that fear is a natural part of being human. But these thinkers also taught that our ability to conquer fear lies in our capacity to reflect, understand, and control how we respond to it. Now that we have an understanding of how fear was approached by ancient philosophers, let us explore the specific methods and teachings that they used to conquer fear, and how these can be applied to our lives today. 1. The Stoic approach: understanding what we can control. The Stoics were clear that fear often arises from the belief that we can control the uncontrollable. For example, fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown are rooted in the false belief that we can shape external events or the reactions of others. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, taught that we should focus on controlling our own responses, not the outcomes of external circumstances. In the Enchiridion, Epictetus famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This teaching is foundational to Stoic philosophy. By focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, and accepting what is beyond our control, external events, other people's actions, we free ourselves from the paralyzing grip of fear. The Stoic approach to fear teaches us to embrace discomfort, face adversity with clarity, and recognize that our thoughts and perceptions can transform how we experience fear. 2. Socrates' approach, fearlessness through wisdom. Socrates' approach to fear was deeply tied to his pursuit of wisdom. In Apology, when Socrates faces trial and the threat of death, he exhibits remarkable composure. He does not fear death, because he believes that the soul cannot be harmed and that wisdom will guide him through whatever comes next. His fearlessness is not born from arrogance, but from a deep understanding of life and the nature of the soul. Socrates taught that fear arises from ignorance, or a lack of understanding. By seeking knowledge, we can transcend fear because we recognize that the unknown is not something to be feared, but something to be explored and understood. Socrates believed that by questioning everything and learning about the true nature of existence, one could live a life without fear of death, or the unknown. For him, the key to conquering fear was not just intellectual knowledge, but the continuous pursuit of wisdom that reveals the deeper truths of life. In practical terms, Socrates teaches us that confronting fear through knowledge, self-awareness, and rational inquiry allows us to find peace in uncertainty. When we understand the things we fear, whether it be failure, death, or change, we realize that they are not as terrifying as we once believed. 3. Aristotle's approach, courage as a virtue. Aristotle's view on fear was rooted in the concept of virtue, specifically the virtue of courage. In Nicomachean Ethics, he argues that courage is the mean between the extremes of cowardice and recklessness. The courageous individual does not lack fear, but chooses to act in accordance with virtue despite the fear. Aristotle also recognized that fear can be both rational and irrational. He proposed that we should train ourselves to develop the courage to face our fears, but in a way that is balanced and wise. Courage is about understanding the true nature of the fear we face, evaluating its impact, and choosing the right course of action, even when afraid. Aristotle's approach teaches us that conquering fear is not about eliminating it, but about mastering it. Courage involves recognizing fear, confronting it, and then acting in a way that aligns with our highest moral values. It is the capacity to do what is right, even when we are afraid of the potential consequences. 4. The role of mindfulness, the power of the present moment. In addition to the philosophical teachings of ancient thinkers, there is another powerful tool for conquering fear that is found in the concept of mindfulness, which is closely related to the Stoic practice of focusing on the present moment. Ancient philosophers like the Stoics emphasized the importance of focusing on the present and not worrying about future uncertainties. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently wrote about the importance of staying grounded in the present. He advises against being paralyzed by worries about the future, and instead encourages focusing on the tasks at hand. The present moment is all we can control, he says. By embracing the present moment, we stop worrying about potential future fears and focus on the actions we can take now. This focus brings clarity, calm, and the ability to act with purpose, even when confronted with uncertainty or fear. In today's world, where anxiety often stems from worrying about things beyond our control, adopting a mindfulness practice can be transformative. By focusing on the present, we shift our attention away from future fears and anxieties, gaining control over how we react to situations and learning to respond mindfully, rather than reacting impulsively out of fear. 5. The power of acceptance, embracing the uncertainty. A key theme among ancient philosophers is the power of acceptance. Epictetus, in his Discourses, talks about the importance of accepting things as they are. He teaches that while we cannot control external events, we can control how we respond to them. This principle applies directly to fear. By accepting that fear is a natural and unavoidable part of life, we free ourselves from its grip. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation or complacency, rather, it is about acknowledging that fear is a part of being human and that it doesn't have to define us. By accepting the presence of fear without judgment, we gain the freedom to choose our responses. This acceptance allows us to move through fear with grace, not letting it dictate our decisions. 6. Practicing gratitude and perspective. Finally, ancient philosophers like Aristotle emphasized the importance of perspective in overcoming fear. By cultivating gratitude for what we have, focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, and maintaining a larger perspective, we are better able to handle fear and uncertainty. When we recognize that we have the strength to face our challenges, fear begins to lose its power over us. Here's how you can apply the teachings of ancient philosophers to conquer fear in your own life. 1. Focus on what you can control. Stoic practice. Begin by identifying the aspects of your life that you can control. Focus on your thoughts, reactions, and behaviors, and let go of worries about things beyond your control. Use daily affirmations or journaling to reflect on how you can shift your mindset from fear to clarity. 2. Seek knowledge and self-awareness. Socratic approach. Whenever you encounter fear, take a step back and reflect on it. What is it really that you're afraid of? Is it based on ignorance or assumptions? Use knowledge and reflection to bring clarity to your fears. Whether through reading, introspection, or dialogue, expand your understanding of the situation and confront your fears with wisdom. 3. Embrace courage and action. Aristotelian courage. Identify areas in your life where you are afraid to act. Break down your fears and evaluate what is truly at stake. Take small, courageous steps toward facing your fears, keeping in mind that courage is the ability to act rightly in the face of fear, not the absence of fear. 4. Practice mindfulness. Present moment awareness. Engage in mindfulness practices like meditation or focused breathing. Bring your attention to the present moment and let go of worries about the future. By focusing on the here and now, you can reduce anxiety and fear about the unknown. 5. Accept fear and respond with grace. Acceptance. Rather than fighting your fears, acknowledge them and accept their presence. Understand that fear is a natural emotion. Instead of letting it control you, practice responding to fear with calmness and clarity. The ancient philosophers understood fear not as an enemy, but as a challenge to overcome. Through wisdom, reflection, and practice, they demonstrated that fear could be faced with courage, transformed through understanding, and integrated into our journey of personal growth. By learning from their teachings, we can develop the tools to conquer fear in our own lives, cultivating a life of virtue, purpose, and inner peace. The wisdom of Socrates, Aristotle, and the Stoics is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Their teachings remind us that fear is not something to avoid, but something to engage with and transcend. By embracing knowledge, courage, and mindfulness, we can turn fear into an ally on the path to personal transformation. What is your relationship with fear? How have ancient philosophical teachings helped you confront and transform it? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to share this video with those who are ready to face their fears and live courageously.